Shalom, shalom. First off, we start off with all honor and glory to YAHWAH, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM, HAQADASH. Double honors to the apostles and elders, great millstone, who rule well, teach well, and sound doctrine. Strong shalom to the hopeful elect, and the rest of the large multitude of men, women, and children, that the Lord will have mercy on these last days. Brother HAQADASH come back with another lesson, Lord willing, through the spirit and power of YAHWASHI, YAHWASHI, YAHWAH, meaning Lord willing, it's edifying. All right, 1 second. Give me a second. All right, calm. All right. So I did this lesson before, but obviously I don't know what I talked about. It was 2 years ago. So I wanted to touch on this again because I keep telling brothers to watch this movie. I love this movie. This is one of my all-time favorite movies. You know, in the truth and out the truth. When I was out the truth, even in the truth, I still view this thing spiritually, even more so now than ever. So I'm gonna play a clip from this. Movie called Blood In, Blood Out, which I've been meaning to touch on this topic again, but really what kicked the spirit into high gear during the lesson is Apostle Tahar mentioned in the movie. Again, I was like, you know what? Let me go ahead and tackle this through the spirit, Lord willing. You know, and here we are. Sorry for my absence, man. I had a crazy stomach virus. All right, I don't know what it was, but I was sick for like 2 or 3 days, man. So it's lucky for that. Yeah, I had a headache, couldn't even sleep, you know. But back now. So all right, so let's show this real quick because Esau whole agenda, he conspired against Israel. His whole agenda is to keep you divided and to keep you down. All right, so I'm gonna show a clip and then I'm gonna talk on it. This is not gonna be a long one at all, Lord willing, because I have more to talk about on another lesson. So let's play this without further ado. Vámonos. Ándale, ándale. Quiero estar con la onda.
You speak Spanish, güero. So do parents.
No need for packing up a now. I killed the 3 puntos because he's going to take out my partner. Soy Chicano.
Chicanos killing Chicanos is what they want.
Right, so hold on before I play that part. This is the part I want. So this guy right here, right? Miklo is his name. All right, he's they call him milk. I forgot what they call him. Milk something. Okay, because of his skin. But see, he still was. See, you know, this is the carnal side of the thinking of Jake. You know, Israel as a whole, because they, even though he has a Hispanic mom, they still consider him Israel in the movie. But however, we all know it goes through the seed line of the father. If I plant an apple tree in my backyard and seeds fall, and I take those seeds and I plant the apple tree in one of the GMS camps brothers' backyard in Dallas or Chicago, right? And I say, here you go, brothers. All right, shalom. And I get them some apple seeds from my tree. It's gonna be the same exact tree that I have in my backyard. It's not gonna grow a different tree because it's in different soil or it's in different parts of the world. It's gonna be the same exact. It's going to be the same exact tree. Now, depending on the climate, right? Climate, it might grow a little differently than it would in a hotter part or a colder part. Nonetheless, just like you have lavender buds. Some lavender buds are darker than some other lavender buds because based off the region it's grew in, but it's still lavender buds. All right, so this guy right here, he's really Esau in the movie because his father is a so-called Edomite. Okay, but now when I pay attention, what they say.
The 3 puntos because he's going to take out my partner. Soy Chicano.
Chicanos killing Chicanos is what they want. Blacks and Chicanos killing each other is what they want. That's how they run this place. Once we get together, they don't run shit.
That's right. You hear that? You hear that? Hold on, let me play that back one to you.
Chicanos killing Chicanos is what they want. Blacks and Chicanos killing each other is what they want. That's how they run this place. Once we get together, they don't run shit. You got a lot to learn about being Chicano, Widow.
Yeah, they call him Widow. You see? Hey, man, so, yeah, man, so, you know, Chicanos killing Chicanos is what they want. Blacks killing and Chicanos killing each other is what they want. Why is that? Because it's a war tactic. All right? It's a war tactic. All right? All right, Salaki. All right, it's a war tactic. All right? Now, I pulled up something real quick. Matter of fact, let me read this and then we're gonna get one scripture I just thought about. I was just playing around trying to find some research on some stuff. Now I guess this is based off a game, okay, so this is not real, but I found something interesting in what he said. Okay, I'm gonna just read what he said. So okay, let me start here. So I have a dilemma. Currently the 3 superpowers of the world are Rome, him, which is me, like I guess it's based off the game, and 2 allies, Seleucid and Bactria. Both of them have military alliances with each other, right? I want Bactria, right? So I think this is the same Seleucid that was one of the generals under the one of the 4 emerging generals out of Alexander, dealing in First Maccabees 1. I believe that's the same Seleucid, right? And it says Bactria. I pulled that up. Bactria, right, is off in Afghanistan, right, modern day Afghanistan. All right, so you could get the region. I'm not going to that right now. It says, and I said, I want Bactria to declare a war against Seleucus, so my advance into the Middle East is easier. Anyway, I can do this. So, right. So it said, so watch this. It says right here, declare war on the Seleucids. Make sure Bactria like you more, then they'll hopefully join you. So that's the whole point. That's how they divide and conquer Israel and keep Israel divided. Because why? They go for one group of people more, right? And merge them to themselves, right? More than others. And then hopefully they'll join them. Okay, for example. Matter of fact, let's get this precept real quick. Start about in Psalms. Psalms 94. This is Psalms 94 and 21. It says, matter of fact, let's start at 20. Shall the throne of iniquity have fellowship with thee, which frameth mischief by law? Right? They frame mischief by law. They deceive the nations by their education. Okay? Daniel 8 and matter of fact, let me show you real quick. We'll come back to that. Let's get Daniel 8. Let's get right into the point. Daniel 8 and 24. And through his policy, right? Through his, matter of fact, I started 20. I was at 25. I started 24. That's what I wanted. And his power shall be mighty. Talking about Antiochus, right? Or some people say Antiochus, but not by his own power. And he should destroy it wonderfully. But it's also applied to them today. It says, and shall prosper and practice and shall destroy the mighty and the holy people. That's the whole point. Through his policy. Second Wisdom of Solomon 2. Second Maccabees 7. We are troubled by his education. Okay. It says, and through his policy, also he shall cause craft to prosper in his hand. So they made it about color. All right. They made it about because they were this is the curse placed on them from YAHWASHI all the way back to Cain. So they had to make it about this, the curse that was placed on them, the sin that was placed on them, pursuing the Numbers 12, when Miriam was changed to lepers as snow, right? Aaron prayed and asked Moses not to lay this sin upon him. So actually, not to lay the sin upon them. So they are literally the men of sin. So they also, since they know that, they say, how can we also put this vibration on the world? Well, obviously our main agenda is the Israelites. So let's push this agenda on the Israelites. First way we do that is through our education, but our education will not be applied unless we have something to back it. And what is that something? In order to get Chicano versus Chicana, blacks versus blacks, blacks versus Chicano, right? Or Chicana, man and female, then what? You have to do it by skin color, by the way our appearances are, right? Which confuses the masses. So now you have Israelites that uphold to only blacks, and you have Israelites that don't believe the Hispanics are Jake or Israelites, and you know what I'm saying? You got a whole bunch of confusion now. See, that's the education. It says, and through his policy also he shall cause craft to prosper in his hand, right? Through his draconian laws, his education, through his colleges, etc., etc. And he shall magnify himself in his heart. This is how he magnified himself in his mind, and by peace shall destroy many. He shall also stand up against the prince of princes, but shall be broken without hand. Right. So let's go back to Psalms 94. Psalms 94 and 21. No, 20 again. Shall the throne of iniquity have fellowship with thee? So righteousness cannot dwell with darkness, man. You see why? Because which frameth mischief by a law. It says they gathered together. It's like they gathered themselves together. Who gathered themselves together? Esau, Edom, that are in an alliance with the other nations against the soul of the righteous and condemn the innocent blood. So they gathered themselves together, man. You see? What's that? Second Maccabees. They gathered themselves together to conspire against you, man. Second Maccabees 2 and 10. It says, damn, what I'm thinking of. Let's get the first one real quick. Second Maccabees 3 and 52. Damn, what am I thinking of right now? What the? I think it's First Maccabees. Like First Maccabees 2 and 10. That's why it's like it. First Maccabees 2, and I said second because I said it earlier. First Maccabees 2 and 10. What nation have not had a part in her kingdom and gotten of her spoils? See, all nations have had their hand in Israel. All man, they made us a whore, man. All ornaments are taken away of a free woman. She has become a bond slave. You see, as we once were free, we once had power, okay? Because once you're free, you have power. But our power, our freedom was taken away, okay? And now we become bond slave. Okay, one more. Let's get the next chapter. First Maccabees 3 and 52. It says, let's start at 51. For thy sanctuary is trodden down and profane, and thy priests are in heaviness and brought low. And lo, the heathen are assembled together against us to destroy us. What things they imagine against us, thou knowest. You see? It says, how shall we be able to stand against them? So we'll never be able to stand against them. So the only way is to do what? Like this thing said right here, is to join them. If you can't beat them, join them. And that's exactly what Israel do. That's exactly what Israel do. Except thou, O Yahweh, be our help. You see? And that's a matter of fact, let's prove that one more time. Now, First Maccabees 1:11. In those days went there out of Israel wicked men who persuaded many. You see why? Because that's always been in Israel's nature, because we couldn't beat them because we were weak. Okay? So if they can't beat them, they join them. Which is why you have something called matter of fact, let's get the curse real quick. Deuteronomy 28. Because you also had this. This was very important to understanding this. All right. let's get right into the point, because let's start at 41. Thou shalt begin, Deuteronomy 28:41. Thou shalt beget sons and daughters, but thou shalt not enjoy them, for they shall go into captivity. Right? So our children was taken away from us, right? And they went into captivity. Okay. What am I looking for? Let's read 46. And they shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder, and upon thy seed forever. So even up until 2021, these were going to be signs upon us to let us know that we are still under these curses until our Redeemer come. Okay. Now, before I get 49 and 50, what am I looking? Oh, it's like it. Bear with me. If I get 49 and 50, I want 30. Thou shalt betroth a wife, and a man shall lie with her. You see? And that's what you get in slavery. And the results of that is here. Chicano, blacks versus Chicano. Him looking like this versus how he used to look in the ancient world. Okay? This is him in the reincarnation versus what he used to look like in the ancient world. All right? Which is why we have to understand the concept of this, 28 and 30. Thou shalt betroth a wife, right? You shall have a wife, and another man shall lie with her. Thou shalt be in a house, and thou shalt not dwell therein. Thou shalt plant a vineyard, and shalt not gather the grapes thereof. Right. We built the White House and many other buildings that's government based, and we don't dwell therein. Okay, all around the world. Okay. The point in that though is that Esau lay with our women. So by them laying with our women, matter of fact, show you this real quick. By them laying with our women, let me see something real quick. Damn, I forgot where it's at. Most High willing, we can come back across it because I want to show you these tabs too. And then we can close out. Damn, I can't remember where it's at. But anyways, yeah, by laying with the women of Jake, you had it to where what? You had it to where now, which is why we brought up what we brought up. When out of Israel went wicked men, because who persuaded many. Because also when the Jake women were getting laid with by Esau, when he was I'm gonna say rape, but when he was taking our women and he was doing his thing, right? Over time, our women started to like it. They started to like it, which is why they have that mentality now. You see, so now as time goes on, they start to have babies. And those babies become lighter and lighter and lighter, to the point that Esau is trying to corrupt our lineage. But little, whether he knew it or not, he thought he was doing harm by putting those same big babies back into captivity. But those were his seed line. Those were his children, man. Okay? Because he planted that seed. He was the apple tree now. Okay? They're no longer Israelites. Okay? So as Jake got lighter, these different things happened. So you also had slaves, okay, Jake men that was sleeping with the daughters of the slave masters, man. And they was popping the daughters, and some of them was popping their wives, man. So then you have Jake's being produced out of that. Okay, what happened with Can't Get Right on the movie Life with Martin and Eddie Murphy? He popped the slave master's daughter, man, and had a Jake baby, man. Till the nigga passed out. He said, who had this nigga baby? He took the baby and he was lining them up all through the Jakes that was in jail, man. You see? So you had a lot of that going on, which would cause Israel to look like this brother right here, especially the Northern Kingdom, which is why I have this. Because Salaki, let me before I show you that, I'm gonna play this real quick.
Back during slavery, when black people like me talked to the slaves, they didn't kill him. They sent some old house Negro along behind him to undo what he said. You have to read the history of slavery to understand this. There were two kinds of Negroes. There was that old house Negro and the field Negro. And the house Negro always looked out for his master. When the field Negroes got too much out of line, he held them back in check. He put them back on the plantation. The house Negro could afford to do that because he lived better than the field Negro. He ate better, he dressed better, and he lived in a better house. He lived right up next to his master in the attic or the basement. He ate the same food his master ate and wore his same clothes. And he could talk just like his master, good diction. And he loved his master more than his master loved himself. That's why he didn't want his master hurt. If the master got sick, he'd say, "What's the matter, boss? We sick?" When the master's house caught a fire, he'd try and put the fire out. He didn't want his master's house burned. He never wanted his master's property threatened. And he was more defensive of it than the master was. That was the house Negro. But then you had some field Negroes who lived in huts, had nothing to lose. They wore the worst kind of clothes, they ate the worst food, and they caught hell. They felt the sting of lash. They hated their master. Oh, yes, they did. If the master got sick, they prayed that the master died. If the master's house caught fire, they prayed for a strong wind to come along. This was the difference between the two. And today you still have house Negroes and field Negroes. Yeah. I'm a field Negro.
That's right. So that you have house Negroes and you have field Negroes, which is why Esau's his propaganda and his agenda was to divide us, keep us divided by the way we looked. You see? And that will also make the hatred between the house Negro and the field Negro more prominent. Okay, so you had lights versus darks. Okay, and so you even had, and really a lot of those were Edomites, and a lot of them were Jakes. Okay, so it was a confusion. Okay, it was a lot of confusion. So now, real quick, now that's why I said you started to have Jake women like the concept of having sex with their slave masters. Okay, you see that all through the movies, Django. Okay, all through these movies, you see Eve shackled up, dressed all nice because she was getting popped, man. You see, she started to like it because she felt clean. Okay, she felt like a woman, quote unquote. All right, and that's what happened over time. So now it's easy for blacks to kill Chicanos, and now it's easy for that hatred to still be boiled up because just off the simple fact of how we look, man. It says, now watch this. Now I brought this out plenty of times, but I want to show y'all something. Now this is Cristobal Colon, aka Christopher Columbus. It says Cristoforo Colombo. This niggas, man. But yeah, so what he did was he called it the New World because this world wasn't inhabited by the outsiders, okay? Only by the Northern Kingdom. Okay, Ephraim being the head tribe, and what he started to come across was, you see all these statues and stuff. He started to come across Israel in its totality, right from the islands. Okay, see here, Columbus made 3 further voyages to the New World. So right, it's New World Order. That's why they say New World. So now what he did was he traveled. He just to summarize. Y'all can, you know what I'm saying, go to this on your own, but the whole agenda was to colonize all of this, right? As they did over there in Europe, you know what I'm saying, and all those places over there after the Renaissance or so-called rebirthing. Now what he did was he had a explorer with him, all right? He had an interpreter with him, I should say. Okay, now watch this real quick. hold on, it's something else in this I wanted. He's the where is it at? Matter of fact, let me get this real quick. Now the dude name, right? I brought this out before. The dude name is Luis de Torres. Okay, now this dude spoke multiple languages, but like you gotta peep the languages that he spoke. Now I never brought this page up, but I brought him up on Wikipedia before. But I'm gonna show you something with this dude. Watch this. Now this is a reason. Now you see I got Portuguese highlighted. Now watch this. It says Luis de Torres was employed by Christopher Columbus as an interpreter on his first voyage to the New World. Prior to this, de Torres held a position with Juan Cagon, governor of Murcia, right? Because I forgot exactly what the names was, but like it was different people in charge of this guy, right? And you know, I forgot exactly how the story went, but they spoke these languages. Matter of fact, I got something pulled up, which is this Portuguese, right, on Wikipedia, Portuguese language. Now, when you go into this, it's fascinating because you're gonna find out you hear something called Romance language. You watch romance movies, all right, romance genres, which comes from Rome, romance, okay, and its philosophies, okay. But before, matter of fact, let's go. I'm gonna read the rest of this and we'll go back to that. Prior to this day, Torres held a position, right? So now watch this. It says a province where there was a large number of Jews as a Hebrew interpreter, right? So he was an Israelite, man, basically, because he was Jewish and this was during the era of the Inquisition. It was necessary for him to convert to Catholicism. So hold on now. So this is, remember what they came over into the New World. What were they doing? They was pushing Catholicism. They was pushing Christianity. All right, that's why you see them when they were selling. They were coming over with them crosses on their boats. All right. Matter of fact, let me give you a quick depiction of that real quick.
Back during slavery.
It's like it. This is the movie Apocalypto. All right. Now, these are the Mayans, man. Okay. I believe they're yeah, you see the boats. But yeah, these were the Mayans, okay, or I think they were Mayan, not Inca. They were Mayans, okay. That when you go back to I believe the Mayans were Issachar. You correct me if I'm wrong. You had a lot of Taino Indians, okay, etc. See, this is Cristobal Colon, man. They coming with the cross. They coming with they propaganda. They swore. They're coming with their full image. Okay, they just have to establish their image now, and this is what you see here, man. Because why? It was necessary for him to convert to Catholicism so they can push this, man. They had this interpreter who could speak all these languages where Jake were scattered in the New World. It says, which he did the day before the Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria set sail on August 2nd, 1492. And this was the date. Supposedly, this is the date that they went to these islands and these over here in the new so-called New World. It says the voyage, because remember, Rome had the world conquered, but he didn't have the whole entire world conquered. He had the world in his bubble. He had the world, and what they knew was the entire world. Okay, it says the voyage also coincided with the expulsion of all Jews from Spain. Remember, because we dwell over there, man. Okay, it's gonna read. I'm gonna show y'all that it talked about the Moors conquering that land. Okay, we were the Moors, man. We called ourselves Moorish, but we had Islamic root. We had the Islamic way about us. We was teaching people Islamic, okay, or we was teaching people out of the Quran. We was set up for 1,000 years, but in wicked, man, and wickedness, man. It says because he was versed in Hebrew, Aramaic, Spanish, Portuguese, French, Latin, some Arabic. Now Latin comes from Rome. All right, all these languages is which catapult this man's system based off Israel being scattered amongst these individuals. Now, if I go back to Deuteronomy 28, right, it says, let's go back to 49. The Lord shall bring thee, Salaki, the Lord shall bring a nation against thee from far, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flieth. Okay, this is as swift as the eagle flieth right here. Okay. Now, what do? They went to him. They ain't never seen these no type of people like this before. They probably ain't never seen no boats like that. You know, because this is probably the younger generation. You know, the older generations, when they came over here, they obviously knew what the boats and stuff was in terms of, you know, how to travel the seas. But these dudes ain't have to do all that.
Что это такое?
Oh my God. I didn't know it was gonna be in a different language. But basically she said, let me see if I can put English on here. Basically she said, I think she was asking him, should they go? Alright, basically. And he was basically saying that he's basically saying, no, better go off going in the forest. All right, so that's what that was. So we go back to Deuteronomy 28 and 49. Yahweh shall bring thee. Remember, like Apostle Tahar said, man, we got to go back to the basics, man. It's good to visit the basics sometimes, man. All right, bear with me. You got to visit the basics sometimes, man. It says, Yahweh shall bring a nation against thee from afar, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flieth, a nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand. So they brought all these languages amongst our people, tongues we never heard of, man. That's why in slavery they had to beat it out of us. They had to beat what out of us? Hebrew, in our language and our tongues that we upheld to, based off the land we was in at that time. And they beat the language out of us, and they tell us our name is this, and they say our name is that, and they rename us, etc., etc., to the point that when you get beat so much, you just accept it. Okay, and then like I mentioned earlier, the slave will become fond to the ways of massa, and finally convert to that, which is called and love his ways or her ways, which is called Stockholm syndrome, man. Okay, it says, as swift as the eagle fleeth, a nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand, a nation of fierce countenance, but shall not regard the person of the old, nor show favor to the young. All right, so yeah, man. Now a lot of these, obviously, some of these things apply to 70 AD, but you apply it to the curses today, because we read 46 that it should be upon us, upon our seed forever. Okay, now we're going back here. It says Columbus. Now, wait a second before I continue. It says because he was versed in Hebrew, Aramaic, Spanish, Portuguese. Now, I had this pulled up. Portuguese language. Now you're going to see it says is a Romance language originating in the Iberian Peninsula of Europe. Okay. Now it says, let me see what I wanted to bear with me. It says it is the second most spoken language after Spanish in Latin America. One of the 10 most spoken languages in Africa. Why is that? How did we get to speaking Latin and Spanish if these are Roman customs? If these belong to the Edomites? Because we were besieged, we were conquered. Okay? And eventually everything whitewashed. Okay? Let's get that real quick. First Maccabees. This is the whole reason why blacks versus Chicano and Chicano versus blacks. First Maccabees 3:48, and laid open the book of the law, which is the book of the law, the scriptures, wherein the heathen has sought to paint the likeness of their images. Job 9:24. The earth is given to the hand of the wicked. If not, he covered the faces of the judges thereof. If not, wherein who is he? He's the wicked, and he laid open the book of the law, the scriptures, the prophets, and he painted the images to look like him. All right, which is why the language had to come with it. Okay? Latin America is a group of countries and dependencies in Western Hemisphere where Romance languages such as Spanish, Portuguese, and French are predominantly spoken, which is why this guy had all of those. He knew all those interpretations because you had to conquer the West. You had to conquer the northern tribes at a massive rate in order to deceive the southern tribes, and automatically, because Judah is the southern kingdom, Judah is the head of all the tribes, in order to confuse Israel as a whole. It says, look, so it says for that reason the language has kept a relevant substratum of much older Atlantic European megalithic megalithic culture and Celtic culture, part of the Hispano-Celtic group. What's Hispano-Celtic? Is a hypernym to include all varieties of Celtic diverse spoken, so like that were spoken in the Iberian Peninsula before the arrival of the Romans. Right, so it was all agenda. Okay, it says our northeastern inland language attested at a relatively late date in the extensive corpus. All right, that's enough on that. Of ancient languages. So right, so they pushed it on progression, and then what happened? They came in with the system. They came in with the image as in its totality. Okay, the beast started to emerge. Okay, is where is it at? It says after the Moorish invasion began in 711, Arabic became the administrative and common language in the conquered regions. But most of the remaining Christian population, right, as they call it, continued to speak a form of Romance commonly known as Mazarabic, Arabic, right? Which lasted 3 centuries longer in Spain. Okay, like other Neo-Latin European languages, Portuguese had adopted a significant number of loan words from Greek. Right? As a matter of fact, if you don't believe it is, I posted a video. of one of the brothers. He posted it a long time ago. GMS Prisoners of Hope. If the page is still up. Now watch this. I'll just play this beginning part and then we're gonna close out.
The existence of the Tabum community in Jamestown has been launched in Accra. The Tabum Graffiti Project is part of efforts by the Brazilian community to recover and preserve the history of the Tabum community in Ghana. The Tabum people are returnee slaves from Brazil who arrived in Ghana in the 18th century.
So you had slaves. Remember, Jake, this is why the confusion. You had slaves being transported to, from, and to. You had them going back and forth. So you just said, he heard them, you had Tambun people, right? So you had Brazilian slaves, when you go back to this, okay? Portugal, right? Portuguese in Brazil, right? You have Brazilians, okay, going back to so-called Africa, all right? Or like specifically Ghana, in those areas, you had them going back to Ghana, man, okay? You had them going back to Ghana, showing you that it was all tactics. Which is why the brother said, you gotta watch this video. Which is why the brother said, I believe he's from Ghana, and he said something about when he was growing up, he saw somebody else who he thought was from Ghana too, speaking the same language, but he wasn't from Ghana. He was from Brazil, and he was amazed. He was like, "Hold on, you from where?" He said, "I'm from Brazil." You see? Same people speaking the same language of their slave master in two different parts of the world. How is that possible? Exactly.
In 1833, the first returnee slaves arrived on the coast of Ghana. Upon arrival, the only way they could communicate was through one word, tabum, in Portuguese, meaning it is okay. Since then, the seaside of Jamestown in Accra has been identified by this name. This community has produced some prominent Ghanaians, including the first Director General of the Accra Metropolitan Assembly, Mr. James Nelson.
And that's one way he noticed it, because the art was similar to the ones in Ghana, just like the ones in Brazil. And it was like the styles is similar.
The former IBF bantamweight champion, Professor Samuel Azuma Nelson, and the Chief Justice of Ghana, Regina Theodora Wood.
Yeah, so you can watch that video on the channel, on the main camp page, the Servants of Zion. That it's called the Tabum People, Brazilian slaves who got shipped back to Ghana, man. All right. Yeah, so blacks versus Chicanos is what they want, man. It was the war tactic. It was divide and conquer, man. Divide and conquer. Psalms 94 and 21. Okay. This is Isaiah 11. And he, in verse 12, and he shall set up an ensign for the nations, and shall assemble the outcasts of Israel, and gather together the dispersed of Judah from the four corners of the earth. From where they shipped this to from, back from, to from. He's gonna what? Gather the dispersed of Judah, man, and the dispersed of Israel, being the northern kingdom, and Judah being the southern kingdom. Judah, Benjamin, Levi. Northern kingdom being Ephraim and the rest of the tribes. The envy, 13. The envy also of Ephraim, which is Espanol, okay, Hispanics, shall depart, and the adversaries of Judah should be cut off. Ephraim shall not envy Judah, and Judah shall not vex Ephraim. All right? Chicano versus Chicana is what they want. Blacks versus Chicana is what they want. Why? Because it keeps them in power longer. But if once we come together, once we come together, Ezekiel 37, They can't stop us, man. Ezekiel 37. And man, this chapter's so fire. But let's get to the point. Ezekiel 37 and 16. Moreover, thou son of man, take thee one stick and write upon it for Judah and for the children of Yashar'Allah his companions. Then take another stick and write upon it for Joseph the stick of Ephraim and for all the house of Israel his companions. And join them one to another into one stick, and they shall become one in thy hand. This is the 12 tribe sign that we have on the streets. That's the stick that we prophesy with, and we show the people the truth. We have people all the time, whether they buck up. The one lady that was buck with the one guy who was bucking up, like he coming with some bunch of bull. She was like, what she say? Ephraim, or she said something like that to that effect. You see, because why? It catches their eye. That's that stick. It's waking them up. We gotta wake the northern kingdom up too. Jake talking about, well, I don't see no northern kingdom out there prophesying. Well, brother, listen. The Most High has blinded you, man. All right. 18. And when the children of thy people shall speak unto thee, saying, wilt thou not show us what thou meanest by these? So they're gonna ask, Ephraim, what's that? Manasseh, what's that? Okay. Issachar, what's that? Say unto them, thus said YAHAWAH, behold, I will take the stick of Joseph, which is in the hand of Ephraim, the head tribe of the northern kingdom, and the tribes of Israel, his fellows, and will put them with him, even with the stick of Judah, and make them one stick, and they shall be one in mine hand. And the sticks wherein thou writest shall be in thy hand before their eyes. And say unto them, thus said YAHAWAH, behold, I will take the children of Israel from among the heathen, whether they be gone, and will gather them on every side and bring them in their own land. And I will make them one nation. So once we gather together, there's nothing they can do. They know that. That's why they know this is the end of their reign, because we are coming together, man. When you had the Black Lives Matter protests, you had Chicanos killing Jakes, man. You can't even go to a Chicano neighborhood, man. Okay? But you also had Chicanos. I had it in my one of my signs, but it said black and brown together. Because if we stand together, they can't destroy us. Because that's the two sticks. That's Ephraim and Judah being reunited, man. We should not vex each other. We should not envy each other, man. I will make thee one nation in the land upon the mountains of Israel, and one king shall be king to them all, and they shall be no more two nations. Neither shall they be divided into two kingdoms any more at all. Neither shall they defile themselves any more with their idols. Right, we read Jeremiah 2. Okay, Jeremiah 3. Nor with their detestable things, nor with any of their transgressions, but I will save them out of all their dwelling places, when they have sinned, and will cleanse them, so shall they be my people, and I will be their power. All right, so I pray this was edifying, Lord willing. I'll play this one more time.
I know. They don't run. Chicanos killing Chicanos is what they want. Blacks and Chicanos killing each other is what they want. That's how they run this place. Once we get together, they don't run shit. You got a lot to learn about being Chicano, güero.
I'm no lightweight, and the color of my skin shouldn't keep me out.
White is the enemy. White's the system. You're stuck in the middle.
White's the enemy. White is a system. Okay? White is a system. Because it comes with the image. Okay, Psalm 73 and 20. The Lord is despising their image right now. It comes with a doctrine. It comes with a philosophy. It comes with an education.
All my fucking life I've been kept out.
With that, I pray this was edifying, Lord willing. Again, I want to give all honor and glory to Yahawah, BAHASHAM, YAHWASHI, BAHASHAM, HAQADASH. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, who will teach you in the sound doctrine, being a great example to the ministry of Yahawah, BAHASHAM, YAHWASHI. Shalom to the hopeful elect, scattered abroad to the four corners of the earth. May YAHWASHI have mercy and grace upon you and your families. Brother HAQADASH, Shalom.